Yep.
Brittany decides she can't handle being a teenage mother, and she moves out of the state with her family to make a fresh start. Why do you think she and her family decided to move? Do you think it would be easy for her to make a fresh start? And is there such a thing as a do-over? Why or why not?
I definitely think that there is such a thing as a do-over, but like, in the sense of like you're starting like a new chapter in your life, but you always have to mentally deal with like the choices you've made in the past, or like, and she left behind like a child, and I feel like that's like challenging for any mom, like given the circumstances. And on page 131, they were talking about how like she's gonna have like started like a new life at a new school and stuff. So like Brittany's like really trying to like, and her family like thought it was a good idea for her to like make that new start because they didn't think that her having the child or being associated wouldn't give her like a good reputation.
Yeah, I think the family was just embarrassed pretty much that she had the child so young, because like their personalities, you can tell that like all they care about is their image, because they had to move different cities because she had it. Like, they needed to give it up. And oh, sorry. Okay, you can go afterwards. On page 52, not even just Brittany like didn't think that she could do it. Sam said that when he was talking to Claire during like the SAT thing, and he was like, well, Brittany and her parents moved to Boise, I sent them pictures and stuff, and then they says like Brittany sort of couldn't do the mothering thing, and I thought about Brittany and how it must have been hard for her, how hard to decide to give him up, how it hadn't made sense to me at the time. So I just think it wasn't even like just her that didn't think she could do the mothering thing. I think a lot of people thought she wasn't ready for it too. So yeah, I had like that quote on page 131 that says that Brittany said, "I'll go to a new school, nobody will ever know," and she said, "My mom keeps saying that," so it shows like it's mostly mom's idea.
Yeah, going with that. I'm sorry, I've been okay. So we don't really hear like Brittany's thoughts very much about like what she like, if she thought that she could or not, and like obviously she was super scared, and like it is a really big thing like for her to have to deal with, but at the same time, like I don't think that Sam, like when he found out, I don't think he was like, oh, like I know that I can do it and Brittany can't. Like I feel like he was like, in reality, like I probably can't do it, but I'm gonna really try because like I want to be in his life, like I'm the father or whatever. And then also like what Sophia was saying, like the mom definitely was the one who was like, we need to move, like because it said that she didn't want to move because her dad like had the job or whatever, and her mom didn't want to move until this happened, and then she's like, okay, perfect, we have like an escape route almost, and like we can just get out of this and no one will have to know, and like we can just like be back to having this like perfect family again. And it's kind of like, that's not how life's gonna go. You can't just like run away from your family or your problems.
Going off of that, on page like 130, she says, Brittany's like, she says, sometimes I think if my mother could have just shut up for like 2 minutes instead of constantly telling me what I should do. And like then she just trails off, and it shows that like she didn't have like the chance to even like make her own decision, that her mom had like already made it for her. So like, yeah, as much as like she wasn't ready for it, or like said she wasn't ready for it, like I don't know if she got to make that decision on her own or like find out. And then also going off of what Della was saying about like mentally, I think that even as like Brittany moves away, she's never gonna forget the fact that like she had a child, and that like that child's still alive somewhere, and like she chose to like give it up because of like her mom. And I don't think like ever like mentally she's gonna like let that go. Like it's gonna mess with her like psychologically.
Yeah,
I could like never.
We should also let Kevin. Yeah, we should try.
Oh yeah, sorry. Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just couldn't ever imagine like going to a new school after recently like giving birth to like a child and like starting over and saying, hi, my name is Jenna.
Pretending it never happened.
Yeah, like you can't even pretend that like something was growing inside of you.
Yeah, like I scored like 50-50 over this because like I definitely think that her parents like pressured her into moving away, because like on page 126, Sam even asked like, does Brittany know that they decided to give the baby away? Like, which makes it seem like he doesn't think that she would know.
Yeah, it did.
And then, but like on
Right.
another part, when like Sam goes to visit Claire or Brittany in the hospital, he like instinctively like noticed that Claire or like Brittany, why am I doing that? Brittany is holding like the baby wrong. Like he's like, if she just moved her hand, it would be more comfortable. But like, I don't know. So like, I'm kind of getting the feeling that she is like A, and wouldn't be a very good mother, and B was like pressured into it by her parents.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I was like referencing to that like chapter too, like when they were in the hospital and like he just like Sam like overheard like the parents just like being really snotty and like you could just kind of like tell that like Sam was picking up hints that Brittany wasn't probably like not like taking care of the baby. But it also went back to like Shelby said, like I said, like, you can't just like forget about like your maternal like time. Like you had a baby, like how are you supposed to like forget that? And so I just thought that was like not like she was like be able to have a do over because if I had a kid, like I wouldn't be able to like just forget it, like make it
It's like, I think it's like what everyone like what we were talking about before about like if it was her decision. Like I think her mom like didn't really give her a chance to make it the decision for herself because like on page 130 she's like I was gonna give him every chance. But then she like goes off and like changes what she said and she goes, but I do know I can't do this. That's not what I expected at all. I'm not what I expected. So like she realizes that she can't do it, which is kind of what Sam is like. We find out in the end like Sam realizes that he can't do it either. But I think like she wouldn't have realized as like quickly that she couldn't do it if her mom hadn't like said it behind her.
But then again, like, it is her child, like, it came from her, like, Brittany's just a plain bitch because she's, like, her mom, like, have a say in what, like, came out of her, like, she made it, like, you could, it's like a kid, like, that's just.
But she's also emotionally vulnerable.
I know, like, emotionally vulnerable, but, like, I know, but I just don't think that's right for her, like, she, of course, she's, like, confused with what to do, but I feel like the mom, like, I don't think the mom should have had that much of a say because it is, like, her child.
I agree, because I thought it was interesting on page 126, like, okay, so Brittany's mom called and was like, she called Mitch, which is Sam's dad, and it was like, she was talking and she told Mitch that they were giving up the baby for adoption, but I just thought it was weird how Brittany didn't call Sam and, like, to tell him. It came, like, I just feel like that's something you shouldn't hear through the grapevine. Like, that's kind of a terrible way to be like, hey, just let you know, you should tell
And
your
I don't
son
think
that
they were.
maybe
I don't
you're
think they were together during like her pregnancy, like because they never talked about that. So I always have wondered like how that ended or if it was still there, and it like just kind of was like.
Well, page 129 though they talk and
We
they
have to
go.
talk next time.
They were like, I always knew that I didn't want that, like talking about abortion. And she goes, and I knew I wasn't. I knew I didn't want to get married. And then like apparently like Brittany like blushed or whatever. And then he's like, because they like had, and then they said I remember that conversation pretty well. So like they had talked like before about like we don't want to get married, like we don't want to stay together. Like they had figured out that they don't want to be
Oh,
together.
they did
so, like,
that. Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Didn't he, like, when him and Claire were talking at the gardens or whatever, he was like, yeah, I asked her to marry me.
Yeah,
and
they
she,
say, like,
denied
yeah.
it.
Yeah, she's like, I
Like,
knew I
think
didn't want to
he
get
wanted
married.
to,
Yeah, and he's like, I remember
That's
that.
probably what ended it, because I feel like that's such a big thing that
I don't know.
it would just be awkward.
Sheila has something to say. Okay, so along with Allison Dale,
Okay.
I kind of think that she's satisfied with what her mother decided for her. And she say that on page 131, she say that I'll go to a new school and like the new place and nobody will know her. But she's gonna forget everything. She's not gonna like take everything with her. And also like the part where she says she doesn't want to get married either. So I feel like with her parents' help, I feel like she's kind of satisfied with that.
Or,
And then going along with what Georgia said, I think the only reason why, like, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why Brittany, like, agreed with going away was because she wanted her mom to stop nagging about her, about, like taking control of her for, like, the kid and all the decisions that they make. Because on page, like, 130, like Shelby said, Brittany said that she wanted her mom to like shut up for like 2 minutes because she doesn't like want her to like keep bugging her about taking charge and like making her decisions for her. I think she just wants to get away, so they forget about it and like she doesn't make the choices for her.
I do also think it's a lot, like, just for the mom. Like, the mom is being very selfish, and she's not really thinking about Brittany's feelings about this. Like, even though so on page 129, they were talking about how she could go and stay with her aunt over in LA and then Brittany was trying to be like positive about it and say like, oh well, like that'd be kind of cool to go live over there. Like it'd be nice to just relax in the warm like weather and stuff like that. And she's trying to find a bright side, but I think just like your whole life has already been turned upside down because you're pregnant and you already had a kid at like whatever age they're at, and I just think that it's so sad that she has to like uproot her whole life again just because of this thing, even though like people should be supporting her rather than sending her off. That's just my opinion. I think that you should just always stand your ground no matter what people think, because like that's just sad for her to move.
I think that's like sad that our society like portrays like teenagers that get pregnant like in such a terrible way, because like it is like what happens in life, but it just happened like 20 years.
It's kind of like
I just think it's sad that they feel like they need to uproot like when it's a natural thing that just like accidentally happened at like a bad time. Like I just think that's sad, and I think that like whole family, like Brittany and their mom are selfish because they didn't like they told Matt or Sam that they were gonna give it up for adoption. They didn't ask.
Something interesting for me is that like Sam's dad was pretty open about the fact that like he wasn't thrilled about any of like the situation. Like he didn't love the fact that his 17-year-old son has a son, but at the same time like he never told him like you need to give up this baby, like you can't handle it, you can't, like he wasn't making up like his mind for him. So it's like probably easier for Sam to like he made up his mind about giving up Max like after like he made it up himself without his dad having anything to do with it, instead of Brittany where she didn't really have a choice for herself. So like she's not gonna be like, oh, like what if I could have done it and what if I could have been a really good mom. Like she doesn't have that because she never even tried, and like he tried and came to the conclusion that he couldn't by himself, and like that was more of a mature thing to do than just being like, oh, my mom thinks I should do this, so that's what I'm going to do.
One quick thing, like, I know this question's going to end soon or whatever, but one quick thing that I wrote, like, I don't know if anyone else, like, agrees with me on this, but I know you guys were talking about how Brittany, like, her life was already, like, completely uprooted by this, like, pregnancy and everything. Like, personally, if that had happened to me, like, I wouldn't want to move. Like, that would freak me out. Like, that would just... like, it'd be too much at one point, and I feel like something would happen, like, in Boise, and then, like, her whole grade would know anyways, and they'd, like, or her whole school or whatever, and they'd just, like, think of her in a completely different way, and, like, I feel like then they'd have to move again, and the mom knowing all of this is, like, I just, like, what, I think Callie said before, like, she's being, like, really, really selfish, and just, like, I just can't imagine.
I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think that that's the case, but once she leaves, there's no going back for her. You know, once she makes the decision that she's leaving Sam and Max, she can't go back, and then probably will catch up with her, but at that point, you kind of